telephone hotline from Dallas, Fort Worth, from the Fan. Please welcome Jeff Cavanaugh. Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Larry.
Let me ask you, first of all, how's you and the family doing during these challenging times right now?
I am all by myself, so it's quite challenging. But, hanging in there day by day, getting it done.
Well, that's all we can do. Hopefully, before long, both of us, thank goodness for the NFL draft, because at least we got some sports to talk about, now where we've had nothing previously to talk about. Let me ask you this. Hearing a lot of rumblings about Dak Prescott. Obviously, they signed with the franchise tag. What are you hearing about him possibly holding out until he gets a contract extension?
Well, it sounds like he is, for lack of a better term, holding out from their virtual off-season activities so far. Mike McCarthy danced around it about 5 different times. James Slater tried to get him to answer the question, but he wouldn't. He was just like, I'm not going to do a roll call for you guys. So I took that to mean that Dak Prescott is not present at the moment when they're doing their Zooms or their FaceTimes or whatever, and they are trying to install at least something of a new offense. So I think it's, when Zeke didn't show up to training camp, they folded for him with years left on a deal. So for their franchise-tagged quarterback, it might be the best thing Dak can do to try to get a deal done, but at the same time, I'm sure he's going to catch flack from a lot of fans.
Down in Dallas right now, you got a brand new coach. You've lost some key players, Robert Quinn, Michael Bennett, Randall Cobb, just to name a few. What do we hear different stuffs based on where, I guess, we're at in the country. What are the possibilities of the Cowboys going after either a wide receiver like Marquise Lee or a Jamal Adams safety from the New York Jets?
Well, they've tried the Adams thing before, so I would not be stunned if they tried again this year, maybe during the draft. You see what happens with the first 16 picks. If you don't love what's there for you at 17, you call the Jets and see if they would be willing to move him for that. But previously, the Jets have just been asking for so much that it wasn't going to be possible. Now, a wide receiver who's available on the cheap to just sort of fill in your depth chart to leave you open during the draft, I think that makes a lot of sense. And now that we are one day from the draft, they probably don't have to do it before the draft. You can kind of see what happens and see if you still need to add a guy. So I wouldn't be stunned at all if they found another receiver to just pop into the depth chart because right now they don't really have a starting slot receiver. With Cobb gone, right now that would be probably Cedric Wilson or Devin Smith, and I don't think anybody's comfortable with those guys as a starter. So there's going to be something that happens either in the draft or with a trade or with adding a late free agent for this receiving core. And the Adams thing, I'm sure they'll still call him. It's just a matter of does that price get right.
We are talking to Jeff Cavanaugh from the Fan 105.3, the sports show, radio show host. Jeff, this team obviously coming off a disappointed 8-8 record. They've only made the playoffs, I think, if my memory is correct, 3 times since 2010. What do they have to do to get back there?
Well, right now it's going to be tough because you just had a time where you had a quarterback who was picked in the 4th round on a rookie deal, so you weren't paying him anything in a salary cap league. And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have a great draft because right now their only contributors from the last 3 years that don't make much money are Michael Gallup and hopefully Leighton Vander Esch. So they haven't done a great job of drafting over the last few years. You're about to pay the quarterback big money, so the team building and having the talent on the roster, it's going to get harder. It's going to get harder for them right now. So I think they're banking on that the change in coaching staff is going to help and that Dak can continue to improve and that they're able to make moves, whether it's in this draft or with what they've done on the defensive line and free agency, and that's enough to keep them competitive. But I think they're going to have to draft really, really well.
And this team, if you look statistically, and, I know stats don't tell everything, but they were, I believe, last year 9th ranked in defense, 3rd ranked in offense. And when you look at those numbers, that would, pretty much result in a playoff type team. How unexpected was it when you heard about Travis Frederick retiring?
Somewhat unexpected. I've met Travis a few times. I know Travis, and he's just one of those guys that if he's not able to be what he expects himself to be, that he's not going to do it. He doesn't. He's got other interests. He's got charitable work he's going to do. He's got a lot of other things he can do. So I guess he didn't view that he could be the same player and play to the standard that he held himself to. And so he just wasn't going to do it anymore. So I wish him all the best. That's going to be tough for them to replace, too. I mean, right now that's probably Connor McGovern, draft pick from last year. Him and Joe Looney will take a crack at playing center, but that's going to hurt him. But you know what? This team, get over it. Your left tackle is a first-round pick that makes a ton of money. Your left guard is a second-round pick. Your center was a first-round pick. Your right guard's a first-round pick that makes a ton of money. Your right tackle would have been a first-round pick that makes a ton of money. Figure it out, That was the problem with the Garrett era, was you don't need to have all first-rounders on your offensive line to be good. Figure it out. Somebody coach somebody. And so hopefully that's what's about to happen.
We're talking to Jeff Cavanaugh once again from The Fan, 105.3 out of Dallas, Fort Worth. Jeff, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, probably with one of the most involved owners of any team in the NFL. How much involvement in the team that Jerry Jones has do you think negatively impacts the team? And should they get somebody in a position there that knows more about maybe calling the shots when it comes to football personnel? Or do you think he doesn't affect them in a negative way?
Maybe a little bit, but I think it's less than people think if they aren't around this team. So there's a guy named Will McClay that works for the Cowboys. And between him and Stephen Jones and Jerry, that's sort of the top of the ladder. But Will McClay's background was in scouting and in team building. And, so that Jerry is not in there watching all the tape and ranking the players. He has the final say, but he's not in there just willy-nilly picking guys that he likes. The marketing part of football is very important to Jerry. And I think that can be a detriment at times to the team. I think that's probably why really popular guys like Ezekiel Elliott and Jalen Smith got early contracts and the quarterback still can't get his deal done. So I think there's a little bit of that where he's very interested and he knows how important it is to market his team in the league. But as far as the team building part of it, it's rare that Jerry goes out on his own and says, nope, adding a player, like his coaches are involved. Will McClay and Steven are involved. He's not just willy-nilly grabbing guys.
Okay. Now, do you think people were making too much of the Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott party situation?
Probably. Look, I'm staying at home. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it would appear, now we can't prove it, maybe there was just 9 people there and they didn't break any, but everybody, if you can, is supposed to be staying at home. So is it a good look? No. Should you acknowledge it and then talk about how it's not, that won't happen? Like Dak made a statement that said, hey, there was less than 10 people and all that, but Stephen Jones also told us on the air, he was like, you won't hear about anything like that again. So, was it what you were supposed to be doing? No. Am I freaking out on everybody that leaves their home for something that's not essential? Not really, but dang it, everybody, just try to do your best to do what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Now, before I let you go, Jeff, I can't let you go without asking you this question. 17th pick in the draft tomorrow. You are the GM. What do you go for in round 1?
We would be on the phone trying to trade down because I get the feeling when we get to number 17, there's not going to be a guy that I love there, and I do love how deep this draft is, so I hope they're able to find a way to move back and acquire picks. But if not, I'm hoping that either C.J. Henderson, the Florida cornerback, is available, which he probably won't be, or I could deal with Caleb Chase on the LSU edge rusher with that athleticism. I could deal with that pick, and he may be gone too. And then I'm in a spot where I'm looking around like, I have no idea. I'm hearing about Jerry Jeudy having teams worried about his knee a little bit, so maybe that'll get him to 17, and I can take him. If he gets there, I'll take him every day of the week. But I don't think the Cowboys take a receiver. So it's captain trade down, baby.
All right, well, listen, I know you're real busy. I want to really thank you very much for taking some time with us today. And we know you have to get back to doing some stuff in regards to the NFL draft. So once again, thanks for joining us, and we wish you well.
No problem. Thanks so much.